Greetings, I hope you are all doing well. We are meeting under a Virgo new moon, and I thank you first of all for your patience as I am just recovering from a recent dose of COVID. And boy, that knocked me to the ground, barely able to see or think, and I certainly still cannot smell, but otherwise seem to be coming back online. An appropriate experience for our Virgo new moon. Now, before I begin, there's two main intentions I have for this video series, and that is, first of all, we're tuning into the regular rhythm of the new moon, full moon, and the zodiac. And every year, these seasons are quite predictable, and we're becoming increasingly empowered as we learn to recognize and tune into these regular seasons each and every year. So every year, a Virgo new moon will have a similar theme. The other main intention of these videos is to talk about this highly unique, never will repeat again moment in time. To start there, this last week we saw the planet Uranus station at 18 degrees the sign of Taurus, just about a degree from the north node of the moon. This is one of the most important parts of all astrology, and all that I teach in my Astro School online. I deliver empowering astrology, how to make sense of your life and the time. The moon's nodes are of critical importance. The north node of the moon is like the overall evolutionary compass direction forward. This is where we're learning, growing, and evolving through having fresh, new experiences. Now, Uranus having gestation on this north node is bringing up shocking, unexpected, rug being ripped out from under our feet, nervous system overwhelming, PTSD triggering circumstances. Now, we want to look in our birth chart. What house contains 18 degrees of Taurus is where we are at this time experiencing this lightning bolt, electrical. Something has got to change. And whether or not we have admitted that to ourselves, or whether or not things have already changed and we're just waiting for the debris to settle down. So it's like when an asteroid smacks the Earth and kicks up a giant dust cloud, and we went from a planet of dinosaurs to completely radically different life forms on this planet. That's what we're talking about with this Uranus stationing. This month of August has been intense, fast-paced, and experimental. Now, this is going to be playing out in very, very different ways for different people. But for all of us, we are mapping out our body, our nervous system, as well as, again, what might be our own way of coping with past traumatic experiences. This is something I'm very redundant about in these videos, is that where we are as a species is a healing of collective PTSD. Every single body and individual will have formed some protective coping mechanism to preserve our body and our nervous system when we are going through moments or experiences of overwhelm. A traumatic experience is simply when there's too much happening at once for our body and nervous system to process. So each of us is going to have unique attachment styles. Each of us, again, are going to have different coping mechanisms, and what's important is that we're mapping these things now. It's not about snapping our finger and getting rid of our attachment style or our coping mechanism. It's learning to embrace this as a path and a part of our life in order to integrate our needs in a healthy way. And that's what Uranus is going to, across the board, for all of us in some way, shape, or form. There's a new lifestyle. There's a new way of living. There's a new value system. There's a new purpose of life through which we are living. And if it's not solid or known to us yet, it is because we're going through the passageway of stripping away and eliminating all that is unnecessary, all that is distracting, and all that is interference. Taurus is about sovereignty, spaciousness, slowness, and stability. And yet Uranus is not likely serving these things to us on a silver platter. We may have the opposite of that right now, but it's giving us a push to get more. Sovereignty, spaciousness, stability, the earth beneath our feet, solid ground to stand on. And it's likely a work in progress for each and every one of us, as this rug being ripped out from under our feet experience is the collective moment in time. Now, as an example, someone may have an anxious attachment style. They may feel incredibly anxious or alone when they are having a physical space to themselves. Now, this is just an example. Someone with this type of attachment style is going to learn how to relate to others in a healthy, supportive way. And they are learning not to let that anxiety dictate their life to the point where they're, grabbing onto people, dragging them down, dumping their anxiety on others. That would not be the point. But the reason I bring this up is it's also not necessary, say someone identifies I have an anxious attachment style, to have to lock themselves in a tower by themselves. That type of overly forceful, get over your coping mechanism, get over your attachment style, it is unnecessary. Each and every one of us is going to have a security blanket, and we're learning how to use it effectively, which means using the thing, the style, the approach, the coping mechanism in a way that's increasingly healthy, as opposed to, really running or regressing back into a helpless state. So the anxious attached person can actually evolve their own dynamic for how they seek security and support in such a way where the anxious attached person can actually become a master of relationship, a relationship counselor, a relationship therapist. They value relationship very, very highly. They value relationship maybe more than others. And that has many gifts inherent within it as well. Okay? So again, Uranus has been the theme of the day. Shocking, unexpected shifts. This is also where there can be very fast dimensional breakthroughs, a lot of breakdowns, but this breakdown can also be leading to the necessary dimensional breakthrough, stepping into a new timeline where the rules of the game are different. It's a whole new reality we're going into, and where the experimentation and the reinvention is taking place has to do with fundamental security. Food, shelter, support, survival. Again, having roof above our head, ground beneath our feet. That's where our whole species is directing so much attention and focus at this time. Now we're within 24 hours of the Virgo new moon as I'm speaking this. And Virgo has so much to do with the elimination of distractions, interferences, obstructions, the movement from the sun-ruled sign of Leo into the Mercury-ruled sign of Virgo is one of minimalization, downscaling, indeed a deflation, where Leo can get so charged, so excited, energy radiating out of our skin. This is what Leo is. It's an outward release and radiation of our love, our excitement, our individual purpose, our sense of being special. This is where we go to our 2-week summer festival, or we have our summer birthday party. Birthday could be any year, but any time of year. But it's like at the end of, say, a whole weekend birthday bash, or again, this 2-week summer festival, how do we feel at the very end of it? Do we want to go very back to the beginning and do it all over? Or do we feel, okay, I'm ready to just kind of close the door and get back to my routine and my ritual? This is what is really, really nice about Virgo season, is this cleaning and this purification and just returning back to bare bones, and how empowering that can be, how articulate and focused. And it's just like Virgo's being so detail oriented, every little I, every T, Virgo's calligraphy, it looks nice, it looks clean, it's orderly. And that's the feel of this new moon. It is, I'm tired of being special. I'm tired of all the fanfare, all the attention, and all of the distraction. There are so many fillers in our life, like how, we get on the computer, or we get on the television, and there's all of this crap that's just filling our brain, the advertisements, and how they're so carefully constructed to grab our attention and to get our gut reaction and to, get everything moving inside of us. And chances are we've experienced a meltdown. I know I certainly have. I actually filmed the Virgo new moon video a week ago, and it was so depressing. I couldn't possibly make anyone endure the dry, empty monologue that was leaving my lips. But this can be the Virgo experience. It doesn't have to be such a big deal. And it's just doing what we need to make the machine operate. And that's where Virgo season's really empowering. This is the time to do your diet, time to do your cleanse, time to get back to a new workout, ritual, routine. Get out your whiteboard, write down that schedule, break it all apart, because this is about being empowered. And how Virgo is empowering is by taking this massive experience of life and breaking it down into bits and pieces of information, breaking it down into sequence, function, order, and to refine it, and then refine it again, and then refine it again to be the best functioning machinery, body, relationship, lifestyle that we can make it. And we experience all this on every dimension. We're experiencing this in our relationships as well. This weekend of the 27th and the 28th, Venus in Leo is squaring Uranus and then opposite to Saturn. It is a bit of a testing of the heart this weekend. And we're rounding a corner. Every new moon, it is breaking in a new season. We can really reinvent ourselves at the start of every lunar cycle. Venus rounding this corner between Uranus and Saturn, something has got to change in how we're sharing ourselves with others, how we're earning money, how we're exchanging resources. This can be a bit of a test. Venus in Leo gets really charged, really excited. I could live this whole new life. I'm starting a new project. I'm excited about this being who I am. This is a new life and a new identity that I'm birthing. I'm going to be an artist. I'm so excited to share this new style of creativity that I've discovered within myself. And, there can be a lot of charge with Venus square to Uranus, moving through things faster than we may realize, and then how does that come off to others? It's important for us to be slowing down and checking in. The opposition to Saturn can also be a little bit critical too. It's like, I'm really excited to start this new life, create these new art forms, and then our partner says, yeah, I don't know. Last time I saw you got so excited, you didn't end up doing shit. You didn't really try. And it's just like, deflation, Or it could be just like, hey, I am so happy and glad to be here. And then the group is just like, wonderful, glad you're here, but get with the schedule. We're not on the same page as you right now. You just monologued for 30 minutes and we don't really care. This is what we're doing. This is the curriculum. And that's some of the Saturn in Aquarius. And, it's inviting us to really explore groups, support, creating structures for our relationships, networks, for community support. These are all the needs of the time. Saturn, this year, it's about building these community cornerstones. So that way we can be connecting the pieces, the people, the resources, the ideas in new and different ways. We don't want to get stuck in this type of judgmental, I have to fit the cookie cutter. And at the same time, we do have to offer something back. It's about what can we maybe offer to this machine. And I don't mean machine in a negative way. I mean all of us are building and using structures that are not always organic. How can we be greasing the cogs and the wheels within this machine to function as best as it possibly can? And that comes full circle back to Virgo. Virgo is the actual alert system that lets us know what's not working as best as it could be. And that's why we may receive a little bit more criticism right now. That's why there will be some of this, doubt and test it to make sure it works. This is the requirement of the earth. The earth is somewhat like a machine. All of these seasons are very predictable and change like clockwork. That is certainly a very real part of reality. And this is the earth. And this is what we need to build for ourselves. A spaceship, a body, a vehicle that's going to actually carry us forward. That's actually going to do what it needs to get these tasks that are at hand checked off. And what's important with Virgo is that we just give ourselves these checklists, and it's one little baby step after the next. Because can this lead to overwhelm, exhaustion, frustration, agitation? Absolutely. Especially this Virgo new moon this evening, as it is squaring Mars in Gemini, the exact degree. So this can really, really affect nervous system, but also adrenals. That's what I'm still recovering from, is this fog in my brain from an adrenal burnout on top of COVID, on top of being sick, overwhelmed nervous system. That's how it likely is right now. Multiple dimensions at once, and multiple, we could say, energy systems, sewage lines, and multiple blockages. Now, Virgo makes us aware of those blockages. It's like a constipation. It's like an agitation. This is again why there can be a little bit more criticals. This can come back through the mirror of the other as well. We're going to see Mercury station these coming weeks in Libra, opposite to Jupiter. September, folks, excellent time for therapy. Excellent time for counseling. Excellent time to be seeking out more than just our friends, but real experts in the field of mental health, physical health. It's a reboot, it's a cleaning out, but this can be a very, very healing month, September 2022, to seek out counseling or therapy, to really have this reflection from another person who is 100% showing up. They want to be there. Heck, they're getting paid to be there. We need that level of support sometimes. To be totally honest, every single person on the planet deserves a therapist. And I know that it's easier said than done I know that we're in a mental health pandemic. I know that we're in an economic money crisis. So it's easier said than done. For those of you who are struggling to get this type of support, my community is not a perfect solution, but it is an intentional space where members are invited to actually support one another in this therapeutic, emotional way. And so if that's something you're seeking, please join our free community. It is a free community for those who are seeking this type of support. Also, just a little plug, I guess. In Virgo season, this next month, September, I'm going to really be banging some things out in the Astro School. We're going to get through aspects, conjunctions, oppositions, trines, squares, quincunxes, the whole thing. It's a very technical aspect of astrology, and that's why we're going to check that one off in Virgo season, September 2022. Okay. So, once again, Virgo is ruled by Mercury. I forgot to mention this. This deflation from the sun into Mercury is going from huge to small. And this is why there can be the experience of humiliation or breakdown. Humbling is the movement from Leo to Virgo. When we go through this movement consciously, it's very empowering, because this is about refining our expression, our life, what we're doing as we go about our day, how we're relating to ourselves. It's about refining it into a service, into a role, into a function that works. Mercury is the partitioning god that breaks everything down into bits and pieces of information that we can understand and then make the best use of it. So this is also about self-diagnosing. Not just what's wrong, but what we have. This is about discernment. This is about boundaries. Holy shit, why have I forgot to mention the word boundaries up until now? 22 minutes in, this Virgo new moon is the time to be doing your protection magic. Protection magic. Do we all want to be merged into a singular cesspool of abuse and undigested emotions and fears and anxiety without any boundaries? That's what we are certainly destined to experience. So we need hard boundaries. This Virgo new moon, do your protection magic, do your cleaning out magic, your womb cleaning, womb cleanse, bodily cleanse, dietary cleanse. But this is about protection. This is about boundaries. You are creating a filtration system right now listening to me. What do you want to keep in? What do you want to keep out? How are you going to create this filtration system? This is about discernment. This is about evaluation. This is about testing. Does this work? A plus B equals C. A plus C equals D. A plus E equals F. We need these formulas. We need these tests, and we need these evaluations to understand what it is that we are actually working with, the bits, the pieces, and the raw ingredients. So this is boundary time. This is the time to close the door. This is the time to hermit, especially with the new moon square to Mars. It's just very agitating. It can be a bit combative, argumentative. Mars is going to be in Gemini through March of 2023. We've got a whole Mars retrograde that's going to take us through the end of this year. But Mars in Gemini, very active, very curious. So many different things that Mars in Gemini wants to do. Square the Virgo new moon, and Virgo's like, you got to choose. You got to pick some of these things. You can't do a million things at once. You're going to get sick. You're going to get angry. This can be anger as well. Again, very argumentative. Like, no, this is how I'm thinking about it. Why are you thinking about it this way? And this is what I want to be doing. Why are you going about it in this other way? And all of these, people keep coming in with all these different ideas, and I have to keep bringing it back on track. That's the feeling of this new moon for all of us. Got to bring it back, got to bring it back, got to bring it back. Back to focus, back to intention. And that's the power of this new moon. It's crisp. It's crisp. It's so intentional. So clean. So focused. That's the magic of Virgo season. When we think of, going back to school time, most of us probably weren't too excited, but some of us were those very special Virgo students. And you get out your planner and you sharpen all your pencils and you get all those pencils nice and neatly lined up in the corner of the desk. And if we're ready to learn, that's what Virgo is as well. It's tutoring. It's mentorship. And we get to seek that out. Who has the focus, the cleanliness, the intentions that we need a little bit more of? And can we take some notes from them? Can we maybe take a class from them? September, do your counseling, get your therapist, get your acupuncture, sign up for some classes, get really cleaned and focused. And this can be such a getting back on track month. If you feel like you fell off your horse at the end of August, it's not the end of the world. It's just what Virgo season does. Virgo brings crisis to light. Because Virgo says there's a broken arm in that body. And you know what that's going to feel like? Pain. And you know what that pain's going to inform your body to do? Probably not this. Right? So we experience a breakdown, we experience some pain, some agitation, and what that is Mercury directing our attention to what needs fixing. What needs a little bit more love, what needs a little bit more nutrition, sustenance. We put our arm in a cast, and our arm will heal. What is broken can be fixed. What has fallen apart, we can put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Don't lose hope. Easier said than done. I've been in those trenches myself this last week. Like, what is the purpose? Why even bother? Allow these experiences to direct our attention to whatever splinter needs to get dislodged. Because that's how it is with Virgo. It's like the whole fucking world sucks because you got a hair stuck on the roof of your mouth. And that's how it is. I mean, it's not even making fun of Virgo. Virgo people have this type of hypersensitivity, and it is very empowering. That's why they're the healers. But until this splinter is dislodged, there's no way we're going to be having a relaxing day. So don't try to override it. We do have to get down and dirty a bit to clean house. And then we can really be birthing a fresh skin. Especially after all of this Uranus. My goodness. As we get into September this weekend, it's Venus square Uranus opposite Saturn. The 3rd to the 6th, it's asteroid Ceres square Uranus opposite to Saturn. And it's again, the theme is how do we create safety and support? How can we feel good about this new lifestyle, this new direction that we're birthing? We don't want it to be too military, like I gotta get to the gym in 9 hours a day and eating only broccoli, and it's like just punching our inner child in the face is not, I think, the most practical way to go about a healing journey. So asteroid Ceres, first weekend of September, is going to invite some of this exploration. How can we really feel safe and supported when it seems like sometimes we can check in and take care of ourselves, and sometimes we really struggle with that. Sometimes it just seems like we really have to put ourselves last, or we make other people first, or sometimes other people are there and supporting, and sometimes they're just not there, and it's super unpredictable. And if we are dealing with that level of instability, how do we create more stability? That's like the overarching, long story short theme of the day. Uranus on the North Node. We're experiencing instability. What can we do to create more stability? All right. New moon is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is going to station opposite to Jupiter this next month of September. It's a really excellent month to be doing an exploration through relationship. Again, the mirror of relationship can be very, very awakening. And this new moon does quincunx Jupiter as well. I mean, it's going to be a lot about body, health, and empowerment. But there can be some really clean, helpful, life-changing insight that we can receive from the mirror of the other this next month. So don't be afraid to get down to the details. It is a humbling new moon. It's an agitating new moon. There's going to be a lot of clearing house this next month. The way that that happens, much like how I just got sick, is it's like an allergic reaction. Do not blame yourself for having an allergic reaction. It's so healthy and important when we go through these necessary phases. It's like if we get sick and we're hacking up our lungs are cleansing itself. If we get stomach sick, I spent the last week actually puking with this COVID. It was such a strange thing, but we're clearing out not just our stomach, all the emotions that are associated with that area, all of the childhood suppressed memories that we've been holding in our body this whole time. I mean, that's what we're talking about this particular Virgo season. It's a rather intense allergic reaction, so we don't need to overburden ourselves with the shame or the inadequacy or the guilt that we should be doing better, that we should be like a fucking superhero and flying from building to building. Don't put that on yourselves. That's where Virgo goes very wrong, is when it becomes too critical, too perfectionist, or, it's just like this total emptiness of purpose because everything's just this machine-oriented, make it as best as it possibly can be. So again, don't forget about your inner child. Seek out the therapy and the support this next month. For those who want to be learning astrology, I'll see you in the Astro School. We're going to really be getting some very empowering technique. It's going to be all about technique this month in the Astro School, and I look forward to seeing you there. Much, much love to you. As always, please take care.